guys, welcome to Home Sweet Homeschool. If you're new here, my name is Ashley and I'm a homeschooling mom to one. And in today's video, we're going to talk about how I plan our homeschool year. Now, I love planning and I love homeschool, and when I start talking about both of those, I can go on and on forever. So I don't want to make a super long video, so I'm actually going to break this up into two parts. Today's video is just going to be how I get started and how I look at our calendar for the next year. And this video is actually a part of a collaboration. So Devine at Calm in the Chaos Homeschool and Shauna from Homegrown Homeschool, they are hosting this collaboration with a bunch of other mamas who are going to share how they start planning their homeschool year. So I want you to make sure you check out their channels and also the playlist that's going to be in the description box in case you need some inspiration or you need to see other ways of planning your homeschool year. And then I'm going to come back later with another video that's kind of going to talk about, it is going to talk about how I pick our curriculum or our unit studies for the next year. So you want to stick around, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss that video because it'll be a good one. All right, so let me tell you how I get started. Now, if you're like me, I'm always thinking about what's coming next. Like, I love to plan. I love to think about the things I'm going to change the next year. I love planning. So I'm always thinking about it. But if you're not, that's okay too. But this is kind of the time where people start thinking about next year. You're kind of wrapping up this year. You only have a few more months left. And so you start thinking about next year. So one of the first things that I always recommend you doing, especially if you're new or if you just need a refresher, you need to go to the HSLDA website and you need to check your laws for homeschooling for your state, because that's important just in case they've changed something or you just need to be refreshed on what is expected out of you as the homeschool parent. Always go and check those out because they are going to vary from state to state and sometimes from city to city. So you need to check those things out first and foremost. Now, I do have a playlist called We Decided to Homeschool, Now What? So if you're brand new to homeschool, especially new to the state of Georgia, because that is where I'm from, you might want to check out that playlist. And so I'll just link it down below, and it's going to walk you through everything you need to know about homeschooling in the state of Georgia. So that's the first thing I do is I look up what is required out of me as the homeschool parent when I'm homeschooling my son. All right, now we're going to get into the other part, and that is a calendar. Now, here's the thing. Because homeschool is very flexible, you get to kind of decide what kind of year you want to have. Now, when we came out of public school originally, we stuck to the traditional academic calendar. We schooled from August until May because that's what we were used to. We've been in public school. I taught in public school, and we were used to that, okay? So it took us a few years and a lot of research to figure out what works best for us. So a traditional calendar might work best for you, especially if you've got kids that go to public school or you're trying to keep up with your child's friends that go to public school. You may want to be off around the same time that they are. So a traditional calendar may work. There's also Sabbath schooling, which is 6 weeks on and 1 week off. And we've done that. And that worked great for us because we did unit studies. 6 weeks was plenty of time to wrap up a unit study, to have a break and prepare for the next unit study, and that worked well for us too. And you're going to notice when you watch all these moms' videos, we probably all do something just a little bit different. I would definitely research the different types of homeschool calendars and find what works best for you. This school year, we've adopted a year-round. And I know when I used to think of that, I thought, oh, who wants to go to school year-round? And that's really not what it means. It just means giving yourself a whole year, 365 days, to complete homeschool. It makes it very flexible for taking time off, and you don't really have to worry about being in this little time frame. So I normally, when I'm signing up with our state, I give us a whole year to get in the required 180 days that we need. So sometimes we're homeschooling on Saturdays, and that's okay. It still counts as a day because you're learning all the time. So I do recommend doing that research and finding what works best for your family. So my step for that is to print out an academic calendar. I do like having it on one page. I don't want to be flipping from page to page. I like having it on one calendar. This was from calendarpedia.com. There's so many of them out there, guys. But let me just tell you, you're going to print a bunch of these because if you're anything like me, you're going to mess up and you're going to need more. So I do recommend, at least when you start, to print 2. Print 1 to kind of get your bearings, put your things down on it. And then when you're really settled in it, then have your other one, okay? So you're going to set it in stone. Let me just tell you this. All right, sorry, I had to pause the video because my dog was going crazy at my door, just scratching like crazy. So if you heard scratching, it's my dog trying to be up in my business like always. She must like homeschool planning too. So what we were talking about was printing 2 calendars because you are going to mess up. That's just, it's a given. So second tip I have for you after you print your calendars is to get yourself some erasable pens, okay? So Friction makes a wonderful erasable pens. You're gonna want those because I'm gonna promise you the second you write in ink and the second you laminate that calendar, things are gonna change. If we've learned anything from these past couple of years is we can have the best plans, but things are out of our control. And so you don't want to put anything set in stone because then you're just going to have to change your calendar again. So the great thing about Friction is they have Friction pens. They also have like different like thicknesses, like this is a Friction pen too. And they also have highlighters. So if you like to highlight up so you can see exactly when your week is, you're off or your birthday or whatever you're highlighting, you want something that's going to erase. So I will link all the Friction things that I use down below. They have saved me in so many instances. I will say though, they do disappear in sunlight and in heat. So don't leave this planner somewhere that you don't want it to disappear, right? So get yourself some Friction things. And another brand that I like is called, I think it's Parku, yes. These are also erasable pens. I found them on Amazon and they work really good too, and I'll link them down below. I'm a pen fanatic, so I'm always trying out pens, and these are my favorite, the Friction and the Parku pens. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to get you a calendar. You're going to get you some erasable pens and highlighters. And the first thing I like to do is just mark off days that I know for sure that we're going to be off, like my son's birthday. We always take a birthday trip. We take it at the same time every year, and I mark that off. I always mark off Thanksgiving and I mark off Christmas. And it's easy to start planning once you go ahead and fill in things you know for sure that you're taking off. And then from there, you can start counting off your 6 weeks or however long you want to make your semesters or your terms when you know already what you're going to take off. So I don't mark up too much, just the givens. That's kind of like where I start. So we do year round. We usually start sometime in July, and then we usually end about the end of May, 1st of June. And we take whatever's left of May and June off, and then we start back up in July again. That's just enough of a break for us. And then throughout the year, if we want to go on a field trip or we just need a day off, we can do that because we're giving ourselves a whole year to get in our 180 days. So that's what I do. I find me an academic calendar, I get my erasable things to write with, and I start planning out the year that I want to have. Remember, plans can change and we have to be flexible. That's super important. Just know that whatever you put on here is probably going to change, and you got to be all right with that. I know that's hard, but that's what you got to do. So that is kind of where I'm going to leave this video. So do your research on the different calendars. Let me know what kind of calendar you use in your homeschool. Do you do traditional? Do you do like Sabbath schooling? Do you do year round? What do you do in your homeschool? What are you curious to learn more about? Let me know. But do your research, know your laws, know what's required of you, and then start planning your calendar. Don't forget to check out the playlist that's going to be linked down below. I'm also going to link my playlist for how to plan your homeschool year. And I'm going to come back with another video probably later in the month of March and let you know how I pick our curriculum and things for next year. If you have any questions about planning, leave them in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching.